Alright, so I am Susie Smith, and I am a Marriage and Family Studies major, and I just finished my internship with Madison Cares. Madison Cares is a small organization that is based and gets a lot of their referrals from the Madison School District here in Rexburg, Idaho. I worked with their parents as teachers side, but on the screen you can see the kind of a little list of a lot of their basic programs. So I was working with just one portion of the program. They do a ton of work with the community, and they work a lot on parenting and also on mental health and mental health awareness. But they're also very versatile and can kind of work with whatever they want to. So if there's an issue with community, they can usually be the one that kind of helps step in and kind of help provide whatever is needed for the community. So how I found the internship was I actually looked on a list through BYU Idaho, and I found one that previous students had done, and I really liked the organization, and so I found their Facebook page, and I actually messaged them, and I just told them that who I was and what my major was, and that I was interested in being an intern for them, and gave them contact information. A little bit later, they messaged me back and asked for my resume. I was able to email it to them, and then there was 2 or 3 phone interviews where we talked about kind of what my major was, what I knew, what I wanted to do with my internship, and kind of what my skills were. And then we had it all set up, and I had a ton of fun doing it. So I worked mostly with Deborah Allen, which is the one with the Parents as Teachers program. So I worked mostly with parenting stuff. So my main responsibility was working with the State of Play program, which was a kind of a mommy and me play date thing type of a class. I worked with one of the other interns, and we would teach a small 5 to 10 minute lesson, and then we would do a little activity that would kind of illustrate those principles and go with that lesson. And then we would open up the gym in the old middle school there in Rexburg, kind of close to downtown. And we would let the kids run around, and we would have playground equipment. So we'd have big rubber balls and hula hoops, and sometimes we would bring in balloons, and they would just kind of run and have free reign. And it was kind of an open gym area, so that when the weather wasn't really great, they kind of had a place that they could bring the kids and just really let them burn off some extra energy, because Rexburg is known for being not so great on the outside weather area. So it is cold, and it is not so much fun to play outside. We would do a lot of work to get all of the lessons prepared, and most of the lessons were based off of the Incredible Years curriculum. So that's kind of where we got most of our information. So my first day was actually homecoming parade. So I got to help decorate the float, which was their truck. And then I was actually on the float, and I got to throw candy for the kids. I worked primarily with Deborah Allen, and that's this one. And then Rick is he's the boss over most of the programs, so he's kind of the lead over everybody. This is Jessica. She is the kind of marketing and social media. And then this is Tanya, and she is kind of the primary administrative lead. And then the rest in the back are mostly interns or some of the other staff that I didn't work quite as closely with. But it was a lot of fun actually being on the float and getting to see all the kids. One of the other things that I worked with is I worked on the Parents as Teachers on their group connection meetings. So every month they would have a big group meeting with all of the parents and their families, and they would have activities and games, and then they would have pizza, and it was just kind of a really big community party every month to really get some information and some kind of have some fun with the kids. So, and then one of the other things that I worked on along with the State of Play program was helping with some of the extra little things on their TEDx Rexburg event. It's just like a TED Talk, but only a little bit smaller and a little bit more local. So all of the speakers were locals. This is Jessica, she's the one that was mostly in charge of it. This one is a group picture of pretty much the whole TED team. These are the little lanterns that I helped make. I think I made all of them. They were used as decorations on the stage and on like the tables and such in like the dinner and things like that. And it was a lot of fun to kind of do a little bit of event stuff. One of the last things that I worked on was helping to decorate the Christmas tree for the Festival of Trees that they donated. Theirs was called the Tree of Hope because it was based off of mental health awareness. And so some of the little ornaments were actually inspirational quotes. So the main benefit that I see that the Madison Cares got from having me specifically, but also interns in general, is that they are able to provide so many more services, because there's a lot of the programs that they rely a lot on interns in order to make work, because the staff is actually relatively small. There's only about 10 or 12 of them, and so there was no way that they could ever provide all of the different programs. So they rely a lot on interns, and it was a ton of fun to be able to help provide a service that the community really enjoyed. I personally loved working there. I learned so much, and I was able to see how closely the coursework that we have done over the years really does connect with real-world programs. So I loved being able to do a lot of like the different versatility things because I get bored easily, so I need some variety, being able to do lots of different things. I was able to learn new skills. I was a much better teacher by the end, because the first couple lessons we read a lot of, but because of the program that we were working with, you never knew how many families you would have and what age group the kids would be. And so sometimes you would have a ton of people there and you were teaching to a really big group, and other times you had a little bit smaller group, and sometimes you had older kids, and sometimes you just had nothing but 2-year-olds or under. And so you had to be really flexible. And so I learned how to take a basic lesson plan and be able to adapt it to whatever group I had sitting in front of me in a very quick time frame, because we never really had a lot of heads up on who was coming and how many and what age group we would work with. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to learn, and kind of we learned as we went because we never knew what we were going to work with, but it was really fun to work with that. One of the main connections that I worked with as far as between my coursework and what I had in my internship was I used a ton of my child development knowledge, and so because we had to adapt the lessons and such so quickly, we had to have that very, very close to the surface so that we could grab it at any time. I also noticed a lot of the different theories actually in practice because of the way that the staff worked together. You could see like systems theory, you could see exchange theory, and a lot of the other ones, and so it was really easy to kind of connect course material with it. I would highly recommend doing an internship with Madison Cares. They do a lot of interns. The main way to contact them and really get information about them is to go to their website, which is Madison Cares, mymadisoncares.com. I have a link on here. And then if you want to do an internship with them, most of the time you would contact Tanya, and then she would forward you to who specifically would be in charge of that area. She's kind of their administrative guru, and she kind of keeps everybody going and organized. For Madison Cares, on the PAT interns, or Parents as Teachers interns, I worked directly with Deborah Allen, and that was her contact information. She does a lot of the parenting stuff and the Parents as Teachers program specifically, but they also have internships for communication majors. So you can do social media internships, you can do marketing internships, you can do a bunch of different ones that way. They also do social work internships, and they do psychology internships sometimes, and they do a lot of work with the seniors. So you can do senior projects there. We actually, for the TEDx team, had quite a few doing their senior project, both through the college and through the high school. So you get to work with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and it's a lot of fun, but you learn a ton very quickly. And so you really have to be able to pick up information pretty fast. But that concludes my presentation on Madison Cares.